afternoon, everyone. How are we doing?
Good.
Come on, give me more energy. I traveled quite hard. It's windy outside. Clarence, you want to introduce yourself? I got the first word, so we're going to give you some space.
But you did everything, though. You already hyped them up. Well, my name's Clarence. My name is Clarence. I'm from New Mission. V and I are best friends, and we're both debaters.
We're both debaters representing the Boston Debate League.
Woo.
So, let's get down to business. So my name's V. I'm a senior at Boston Community Leadership Academy. And just to provide you a little bit of background information about me, my family and I are originally from North Korea. We crossed the border in Chilean, China, stayed there for a couple months in refugee camp, and then we finally went to Vietnam and settled down there for a couple of years. And we finally had the opportunity to come to the United States. I settled down in Connecticut for a couple of years. That's what I called my American hometown, right? And then I finally came to Boston my sophomore year. So now, as an immigrant, first entering this country, I remember feeling worthless and powerless because I could not comprehend any lectures or any materials that my teachers were covering. I remembered my futile attempts of defense while experiencing discrimination. I also remembered not being able to speak up for my mother. And I asked myself, why is that? And I came up with an answer that because my voice was missing. Now, every one of us here was born with a physical voice box within your body, but I think it is essential to develop an abstract voice, which is the power and the ability to speak up and to advocate for yourself, a sort of agency and autonomy to stand up for what you believe for and translate your beliefs into positions. So I have a lot of friends who sing to express themselves, who dance to express themselves. For me, it's writing and debating. Because I believe in the power of rhetoric. I believe in the power of words. I believe words shape reality. And, I'm sorry, I'm stealing all the spotlight.
You were going with a lot of momentum.
Oh, right. Because I remember, I just realized that Clarence was next to me. Sorry, buddy. I'll keep going. So when I was in middle school, as an 11-year-old, I did not have access to these protests or these sort of big events where I could speak and people would actually listen, because come on, who would want to listen to a 10-year-old girl speaking, right? And I didn't really speak English at the time. So I realized that the only way that I could access this sort of autonomy and how I was able to stand up for myself is through writing. Because I want to add some colors to the story.
This doesn't work, right? Test? No. So, my backstory isn't as interesting as V's, who came from
Your story counts.
Yeah, it does. So, I was born and raised in Boston. I lived in Mattapan my entire life. My father always taught me to really be a submissive part of society, not to speak up much, don't talk back to anyone, and always follow the rules. And in a way, that really silenced my true potential in life. So 3 years of silence from elementary school to half of middle school. It was in 7th grade when my future debate coach, Miss Knus, asked me to join the debate team because I was so quiet. If something was wrong, I'd just cry. I was such a crybaby back in the day, and I really never spoke up for myself. So she said, "Oh, join debate, help the team out," and I did. First match, I sucked horribly, and second match also did horribly. It was the first time I ever talked in such a new way. There was no real way to describe it. The ability to talk about something so personal because debate is really a personal activity. Your own opinion out there, and you debate about it and defend it with your life. And even years after, I still struggle with speaking. It's double negative. You know double negative. Yeah. Okay. And I just slowly, over time, I got better and better. And then I met V, who increased my performance at speaking a lot. A lot. And and over time, I was able to defend my ideas, defend my own beliefs, make up arguments, talk debate in even in my classrooms, where we will bring up personal issues and controversial issues, and I'll be the first one to stand up like, oh, I want to talk about this. This is important. We have to defend everyone, because I was a really I'm very moral, moral person, and I believe that everyone has an equal right to succeed, and everyone deserves a second chance. So I always stood by that and always defended everyone.
To add on to that, the moment that I realized I need to demand to be included was when I realized my inability to fit in, because the way that American society is structured is through the binaries of whites and blacks. So I feel perplexed by this intersectionalities of genders and races. Whiteness used my identity as an Asian or Asian American as a justification that racism does not exist. They refer to us as the model minority. I could not be black enough to claim the injustice and oppression that I face, but then I'm not white enough to claim my privilege. But then I feel perplexed because I don't know where I should be included, because there's no way for me to fit in. And that moment is when I realized that I need to develop my agency and my autonomy to voice up my beliefs. Another great moment when I realized that I need to speak up for myself is actually when I entered my debate rounds. As a female debater, I always got interrupted by my male partner or the male judge, or when I was judging, I was interrupted by other judges. I was even interrupted by the debaters who I was judging because I was a female debater. And speaking or voicing up my opinions in an aggressive tones was not something that a female is supposed to do. So I'm aware of the injustice, oppression, and corruption that exists in this world. I neither accept to be a victim, nor do I choose to be a bystander. I neither want to take part, nor do I choose to neglect. Like I said, I believe in the power of rhetoric, because to me, rhetoric has the capability to ignite awareness and promote social changes. I mean, haven't we witnessed enough revolutions that are stimulated by ideologies and shaped through discussions? So it is important to develop the ability to think, to voice up your opinions, to stand up for your beliefs. Thank you.